What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Cloth Talk podcast. We have a very special episode for y'all today. We have the lovely ladies of Aurora Tights. Clap it up for Aurora Tights. How you ladies doing today? How you ladies doing?
Great. Good. Alive.
Grand Rising.
Oh, no. Hey, yo. So why don't we start with introductions? Everybody introduce themselves, and you guys give us a little backstory on how you guys met and how you guys know each other.
Want to go first, Marty?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Imani Rickerby. I'm one of the co-founders and COO of Aurora Tights.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I'm one of the co-founders and CFO of Aurora Tights.
And my name is Sydney, and I'm one of the co-founders and the CFO of Aurora Tights.
We got to plug Jalen.
Oh, it's my cousin. Since literal diapers.
You talking about me?
Awesome.
Yes, you.
Yeah, shout out. That's my cousin over there. doing big things.
Got family ties.
Doing big things.
Family ties.
Love to see it.
Yeah. So how did you guys meet? How did this group come to be?
It's still in my thunder. I was about to ask that.
Great question.
Well, who was it?
Well, Imani and I met because we were two of few Black ice skaters for the University of Maryland. We had an ice skating team. No one knows about it. That was freshman year. Mm-hmm. And then we were all interest for Delta together. And then, of course, line sisters afterwards.
Okay, yes. Okay. The bond is real.
It's so funny. That was the stage of our relationship in being interested.
See y'all in the halls, like
yeah.
Hey, I know you.
What a weird life.
Yeah, and then we ended up not only line sisters, roommates. We've all been roommates with each other. Jazz and I also ended up co-coaching a synchronized ice skating team in Bowie, Maryland, and that's really where the idea of Aurora Tights got started. When I grew up ice skating, I was not allowed to wear apparel that matched my skin tone. And Jazz and I, we had this group of 15 girls, and it was so diverse. It was beautiful, but they were still wearing tights that were meant for fair skin complexions or white people. So we decided to be the change, and create apparel that's made for all shades, all sizes. And of course we had to grab Sydney to start this chaos in the industry because Sydney has a very similar story as we do, but in the dance space.
Yeah, no, same to Monty, as Jalen knows, having gone to, you came to some of my competitions, I feel, wore the wrong shade of tights as well. It wasn't necessarily encouraged to. Really, until college, and even then, trying to find tights in the right skin color was not easy to find and very hard to get. And so I know, we had all worked with each other, just in chapter time, which was really wild too. Just seeing each other's work styles. Bonnie was our lovely president. I won't tell you what we called her. Jazz was really but she was pretty much in charge of programming for our chapter. And I did a lot of the marketing side. So we all knew each other's work styles. And me and Jazz, we just worked with each other too much.
Yeah, it was a lot of overlap. Where were we? MPHC. I like bury those memories.
Too much.
But to that point too, it's my story is a little bit different. It's aligned a little bit different. So I was an ice skater, but I was encouraged to dye my own tights, which is just another financial barrier. You have to buy dye. You have to find time to do that before competitions versus everyone else is just buying it in store. And a lot of times it's experimental. Sometimes my shit would come out green, sometimes it wouldn't come out the right color.
Right.
This is what you felt like you have to do to skate. So we're this is a problem. Let's fix it.
Yeah. I, from the outside looking in, I never would have thought that was an issue. I just assumed everybody wears white tights in figure skating and dancing, but it's good that you guys were able to see that problem. So how did you guys first start the idea? Hey, we all have this issue. now let's make a company. Let's figure out a solution and give it to the world. Like how did that start? Because that's a big step, you know.
Monty and I were already working together, pretty much. Monty ran a team, and I was just a camp counselor. I was just the girls and play games. But
Wait, that's so funny.
that's all I did. But no, like we were living together, and we were already always at the ice rink. You know, like going to competitions, just always there. And then like Sydney, like at first. Monty and Sid lived together later, but like pretty much Sydney lived with us. And I feel like we just like went downstairs one day and we're like, let's do this. Yeah. And then like brought Sid in for her market. We first were going to contract with Sid. We're like, hey, we have a whole scheme for her. This doesn't work. We plotted.
we need our services.
Like a similar story, you know. And I think that was when still throwing around names too. One of my favorite possible names for Aurora was Ebony for the Gold. Shout out Monty.
Would have been fire.
What about it?
No, I was just going to talk about like the actual product. Like how we started off with like what Jazz used to do was dye our product. So we would go on Alibaba or AliExpress at the time, order a couple pairs of tights from who knows where. And then we had this like diary. I think it was like Jazz's old diary. And we bought like a shit ton of
computer, by the way. Let that be known.
We still have the original recipe. She said, I refuse to put it on the computer. Yeah,
it was really weird. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
And so we lived together. In Largo, like just get the setting, like
right outside of the Funix field, by the way, right outside.
Giving like very much bare bone trap house, but
that's where everything started. It started in the basement, it started in the garage.
Just cooking it up.
Literally.
Yeah, so that's how we first started, was like dyeing a bunch of tights. And like, of course, you can imagine, not only it was messy, we didn't know what we were doing, but like, I mean, the shades usually came out pretty nice, but like we would never be able to duplicate it again because like, there's so many variables, you know? Yeah. So yeah, that was our makeshift product. And then quickly, not actually quickly, that's a lie, we were able to find a manufacturer, our first manufacturer to actually get our tights professionally sewn, actually create shades that we believe match human complexions. And that's how we started with our first 5 shades.
3, actually.
That's awesome.
There's 3
oh,
shades.
yeah, 3. Mm-hmm. Wow, we've grown so much. We're at 7.
I would love to see it. I feel like that's a recurring theme on here, though. Like, we've had a lot of entrepreneurs on as guests, and I feel like that's where it all starts. Like I was saying, it all starts in an idea. And the fact that you guys just took that idea and were like, all right, this is what we're about to do. And then you just start. I think that's the key in our theme. Just start. Whatever your ideas are, start them. Be in the trap or whatever. The trap, the garage, the basement. Do it yourself. But that's the most important part. Just start. Whoever's out there listening. You want to be an entrepreneur.
And I want to say something to that, because I feel like a lot of times people think you need all these skills ahead of time. We were all 3 separate majors, you know, like we were not business majors, and it was just kind of jumping in, and you'd be surprised how much you can just learn along the way, you know? And I feel like that creates that mindset that like almost anything we're thrown into now, I feel like we feel prepared, whether that's in entrepreneurship, in life, like we just have like a method of how we're going to figure it out now. So.
Yeah. What on that journey, what were some of like the major roadblocks that you guys like ran into? Because I'm sure there was a lot, especially like learning along the way.
I feel like we should all 3 think of different things.
Well, yeah. I think one of the first roadblocks, and it wasn't truly a roadblock because of the Digman Center, but one of the first ones was funding, you know, and we all had dedicated like, oh, we're all going to put like 1K into the business first. I don't think we ever did that.
No, we did do that. We did do it, but we thought that was so much. We thought that was just like bad. Like we really put up a lot.
And shout out to the Digman Center at the University of Maryland of Entrepreneurship. I had already been working with them on a previous company in Prology, and you always when you're talking with this center, you get started at Digman Fridays, and so Jazz actually started going to Digman Fridays for Aurora, and we both were in the same class for Aurora. Then my other business at the time too, called Hatch, and that was the first time we were able to get funding. Right? Let's do that class.
We had a pitch. Sydney Lynn was a double operative because she wasn't technically allowed to be for 2 startups, but clearly she was doing the work. Yeah, that was our first pitch. Pretty much, we won like what, 1,250.
Jazz pitch, yeah.
And that was the first. And the thing is, honestly, too, we requested less money. Like they said, you could request up to 1,500, and we requested something like very specific and like conservative. And that was the first lesson. They're like, always request max, and so, like, get what you can get. So it was like, okay, I feel like we try to take that and run with it ever since.
And then from there, the Digman Center has helped us in various ways, like through accelerators, through grants, and especially through the pitch statement competition. We've gotten correct me if I'm wrong, like $21,000 almost dollars. Is that right?
I thought you meant for pitch statement.
No, general.
But no, honestly, somewhere around there. If not, maybe a little more.
Too much to count.
You know,
honestly, we want to move out the house. Like that is us. Like we refuse to move out their house, but we love them.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I was going to say that funding, you don't have to, for entrepreneurs out there, you don't have to think that you have to self-fund every venture, like working with programs in the area, grants in the area. Even if you're a student on campus, you most likely have an entrepreneurship center, some sort of funding center for your idea, like literally an idea before you even are revenue generating. So what were y'all's roadblocks?
You weren't there.
I was like, huh? She asking us questions?
I was like, wow, flipping it.
Call me off guard. Roadblocks to podcasting and entrepreneurship.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's the same for us. I think it's just a matter of just getting started. Like for years, we had conversations about, having a podcast or whatever, because we felt like people should hear the conversations that we have. But that's all we did was talk about it until there was a point in time we were like, all right, just, we about to buy some microphones. We about to buy some microphones and webcams like tomorrow and just start recording. And I don't know. That's what I think that's, why does this always happen? I always be like losing my train of thought and shit. I think
you were getting emotional, like he was crying.
No, I was just thinking, but I defer to Memo.
Yeah, it's that B12 vitamin. Need that focus. No, I think I think the mental roadblock was definitely big in the beginning. Just executing on the ideas, because we ideated for a while, coming up with the name. What are we going to talk about? We actually planned out a lot of it. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, you got to like jump over the river now. You got to jump. So taking that step was cool. Recording that first video was like nerve wracking. Like being in front of a camera is something we've never really done before. And we're like, damn, everybody in the world is going to be able to hear this potentially. So it's like, once you kind of get over that and you realize it's not that big a deal, we started getting on a roll. I think the second biggest roadblock for us was kind of figuring out like our topics and our niche, but also getting the technology to do what we do, because we're remote right now. We live in different cities. So before the pandemic, there was not really a lot of good options for recording a remote podcast. Like it was kind of bad. And the first couple instances where we did remote, we used like Zoom and like other things, and the videos came out terrible. Like to the point where we didn't put out like 2-3 episodes that we recorded because it just came out so bad after editing. So yeah, I would say those are the biggest couple roadblocks we had initially.
Oh, that's
But
why. We've always wanted to do a podcast, but we're gonna have to come to you to understand.
yeah. Yeah, man, we got the tools. Whatever you guys need, just let us know. We'll help you guys
Who knows?
get the Aurora Tights podcast up and running.
We need that.
Yeah, Jasmine and Imani, I don't know if you guys had any other roadblocks you wanted to mention, like just on the Aurora Tights journey in the beginning, besides funding.
Okay, yeah, can't go back to that. Monty, want to go first?
No, you could go first.
Okay, so this one's contentious because we might not all agree on this, but our next robot live update coming to you is our children's tights, bro. Okay, so we thought like clearly this is for the youth. We're like we want to start them off young so they can grow up with tights, right, in their shape. But like we kind of went off of like anecdotes, like people like, hey, I have a daughter, hey, I have a son potentially. That nobody's sorry. I want to switch to another story, but. But basically though, like we just went for it. It was expensive, like like we bought all this product. It was like here, ready for market, and it's like it was a slow burn. We're probably still burning with children's, but it was like it was just like why did we just jump
multi-year burn?
It's like, why did we jump in head first? Like just so strong. It's so like, not wrong, but like it's just like learning. Like before buying product, before investing this, like. Understand what the customers want. I feel like after that, we've always tried to, and like we're always refining that process, but like making sure we're not making products just for two people or whatever it means.
Yeah.
So I guess what was the key issue there? Like there wasn't a market for children's tights and your skin complexion, or
no,
too early.
I think it's honestly should be more data driven, like because if it is a specific niche, maybe it's like people buy differently for children. Like they buy it from, schools, they buy it from, where they actually practice from their rank, whatever it is. But it's like probably a different way of method. And she's been very strategic about it, like just being more data driven decisions, I'd say.
And even like just starting with, we initially had the idea of like let's just start with 3 shades, but even though you're starting with 3 shades, we have such a product that you need all 3 shades and a certain amount of SKUs to accommodate sizing. So like with children tights, that's just adding on how many more sizes? 3 more sizes. So
3 more sizes, yeah.
That means like a bunch more SKUs. I can't do math. And it's just like maybe just first starting with the very minimum that we needed. I think every single time we tried to move into something. Well, actually, no, it's not every single time because we kind of went for it with apparel too.
Well, that was different.
I was going to talk about that. Yeah, I guess another roadblock was the pandemic, of course. When did we? It was like the pandemic hit March 2020. We honestly started getting like actual sales the November before, and then pandemic hit. And it's like, haha, like jokes at us. We have all this inventory. Ice skating rinks are closed, dance schools closed. So it's like, what do we do? And that's how we got the idea of like creating apparel for our customers who are now at home. So we entered that leisure space. That's where we have like these cool little tops and stuff. Still selling on our website, but it actually was super cool. We were doing at that time fulfillment, like I was doing fulfillment.
Yeah.
And I think
you skipped the part before drop shipping.
Oh no, that was a nightmare. We did drop shipping for a hot sec, and that was I mean, honestly, I still have to blame the pandemic. So drop shipping basically like we're using an actual like wholesaler across seas. So like you would order, I don't know, some like shirt from us or elastic bands, for working out, and you would maybe got it in like 3 months. Like it was mad chill. Then we entered our leisure space. It was mad chill. It was like, you just, and like luckily at the time, like we could have blamed the pandemic, but still it was an awful model. Then when we entered our athleisure, we actually like brought inventory in-house. And I think it was kind of cool because it gave the opportunity for like our friends and families that are not ice skating and dancing to actually contribute to our business. So that was awesome. But there was a lot of lessons learned with that. Like I never want to be a fulfiller. Like I am like USPS is like I actually own USPS. Like I know everything.
It's you gotta give Monty props. Like fulfilling is
I hated it.
Awful.
It sounds like a nightmare.
For packing our own tights too, because they
my God,
the shit didn't come packaged. So
that's a roadblock because we try to be cheap. We're like, oh, we're starting out entrepreneurs. We're not gonna pay for them to package it. But I tell you, like, it's just how many tights. I'm gonna maybe exaggerate, thousands though. I feel like it was thousands of tights. And
no, it was 100%. It was
like my parents' house, and I like literally packaged it as a haze. And I think one time, me and Cindy were just trying to count an order. We got it wrong every single time. I think we counted 3 different times
in 3 different ways.
And it's just like, this is not our strong suit. So we got to find something else. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Also, the pandemic brought like both 2 of our original manufacturer went out of business a week before we were supposed to get our order. That was, I think, around like almost $10,000, like something crazy. And I just get a call from Shorty being like, yeah, sorry, we can't give it to you. But that was a blessing in disguise.
It was. But to that point, to talk about how long it takes for tights to be made, why like a week before is like rude. Like,
you go out of business.
Like, this one is already in advance. Like,
they had notified all their other customers but us.
That's insane.
And Monty had been on their line. Remember that? Like, you were calling them every day.
Oh no, they're like damn near my boyfriend at the point. Like, hey, boo, like, what's that?
You go to bed.
Man, that's intense, y'all. Y'all been through the ringer. Y'all been through the ringer. That's a lot. That's a lot of random issues popping up. So one thing we wanted to get into too is just like entrepreneurship in general. I feel like in the minority community, especially, it's not really something that's talked about when we're growing up. How did you guys find entrepreneurship? Do you feel like it was encouraged in your household? Like, what are your thoughts on it in general? Do you think people should try to be entrepreneurs by default and then try to work a 9 to 5? And what do you guys think about that?
You know, I just came to mind, and I don't think that I connected it before, but Monty, your dad is an entrepreneur, you know, being a dentist. Jazz, your mom is just entrepreneurial in general, but she's also an owner of like Airbnb things. Was she doing that back then?
Yeah, she does like real estate.
Yeah, just real estate. And then my dad, he always for his job, he had to start fake businesses basically. So like he was so encouraging of it too. So to your point, Will, I think it's an example that we definitely probably grew up seeing in various ways individually. But yeah. I never connected that before.
I don't think it was like in my household it was ever like said out loud, like, yeah, start your own business. He's like, no, you're going to school.
Right.
Yeah.
Like but I think just having like Black parents, it's like, no, you need to get an education first and like get your 9 to 5 so you have that stability. And I think that's why all 3 of us still have our 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But I don't know, as just Black people in general, we are so talented. We are able to handle both, even though like it drives us insane. But thankfully, like this companies also tie so much to our passion, so we are able to have the energy for it. I don't know if I told my dad like, yeah, I'm doing Aurora Tights full time, would he be supportive of it? I think at first he'd be like, but at the end of the day, like 20 years ago, he started his own private practice in Jersey City. Like, you're insane. You know what I mean? So I do think a lot of our inspiration comes from our parents, but like secondhand, like it wasn't like
it was encouraged.
Yeah,
definitely saw.
Yeah.
That's another question that we wanted to ask. Like, what were you about to say, Will?
No, go ahead.
I was just like, we wanted to ask, since you mentioned that you all still work 9 to 5s. So how do you manage your time working full time and also running a business full time? Because I feel like that's kind of an issue that we run into as well. It's like we just got off work now, but damn, now we got to record, or now we got to edit or make a thumbnail, or so like, how do you manage your time working full time and running your booming business? That's the question that I wrote. I put booming in there because business is booming.
I think, well, at first, my first idea was just to be a mole and work for a sports apparel company so they could buy us. But that
almost got fired.
They literally like had to choose between the two. And I was like, whoa. Clearly I worked by itself.
Nah.
But yeah, I'm now, my role now is very, very, very aligned. I feel very blessed and very fortunate. Like, essentially, I'm an entrepreneur. So, like, I work on a lot of different businesses as my day job, and it feels like Aurora just fits in the same. Like, I bucket time to do like these 3 different companies. I just add Aurora as the 4th, so I feel very aligned now. But as far as like having the energy afterwards, I feel like the biggest thing we feel like learn over time is just giving ourselves grace. Like, there are going to be times like we really don't want to, and like being real about that, like, because like you trying to like lower your tank unnecessarily, like it's going to keep going, you know, like you have to have those times to recharge, otherwise it's not gonna work. So
yeah, I think it really does help to have 3 people on the business too, because it, like, as long as 2 of us are on the same page, I feel like we move forward, and that's what keeps Aurora pumping. And it's really great because when there are big life events that are happening, like a new job, like a marriage, like different things like that, like there's people to support on the back end. And like Jazz says, if one of us is feeling burnt out from other places of our lives, like, I think we're quick to say, you know, just don't come to this meeting, or I'll take this for you. And we all do that. It's like a shared support system.
That's awesome. Yeah, we could definitely relate to that. Like, I feel like having the duo that we have definitely helps, because there's times where I'm like, bro, I can't get to the edits today. Like, can you help me out?
Yeah.
Or like one of us is on vacation, or one of us is traveling or something, and the other one like makes up the slack. So it's definitely helpful. Yeah, I think
Still
having
trying to
partnerships.
outsource.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the ultimate goal.
We're trying to find an editing team. That's our next step. I feel like once we get an editing team and get someone to put out the clips for us, like, we'll be able to really scale stuff. Because honestly, this recording part, this is the fun part. This is where we have the conversations and everything. But the editing afterwards, man, it's a nightmare. Like, after we were able to set up our processes, it got a lot better. But it's definitely time consuming. It's definitely time consuming. So,
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that's real. It's good that you know that. We talk about that all the time. Like, there's going to be things that give you energy and things that take away from your energy. And it's not that you can't do them. It's just going to take a lot more of your energy. And clearly fulfilling, personally draining energy for us. So, yeah, so editing sounds similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say that it's still hard. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead, Sydney.
I was going to say, I will say it's still hard, though, like having a 9-to-5 introvert, it's like having 2 full-time jobs, honestly. But I don't even know if there's a but to that. I just don't want to understand. I want to underscore that it is a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to balance and keep track of. But I think what Jazz said in the beginning too, that's also something I feel like over time we've gotten better at as a team. Like, we probably weren't that good at it at the start. We were all students at first. Actually, no, I was a student, and then YouTube had already. You were still a student, right?
Yeah, I was forever.
In the body, in a full-time role, you know, it's just but over years and years of time and trying out different techniques, and I'm still trying to figure out different techniques to this day.
Yeah,
I'd love for us to have an administrative assistant. That's my dream.
Yeah, that is the ideal. But I feel like, honestly, too, I feel like we're all very grounded and humble. Like, I don't think, like, we try to learn, and like, also, too, I do want to say, and then I'm bouncing to Mani from her thoughts, too, but it's like the things that we learn here, I feel like we're in a pressure cooker. So sometimes it's like we learn a lot, and then like sometimes like I'm showing grace to my coworkers, and they're just so surprised. It's like, I would definitely do the same for Aurora. Like, no, it's all good. No worries. Like, oh, I can do this, or don't worry about that. And it's like, it's kind of happy that, like, I don't know, like, we're going through so much in these experiences, but it translates to others around us as well. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I think just to add about like I do think I had like the weirdest like transition of Aurora Tights, because like I was full-time first.
Yeah.
And like, you know, your first full-time job, like 9 to 5, like you're actually working like 9 to 5. And then our chat is bumping all day because like and thank God we had this opportunity, but we're doing all the stuff in the Dignan Center, and Jazz and Sid are just bouncing off ideas. But I wish I could show you their group chat because it's usually Jazz and Sid like blah, 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 and I'm just like, guys, this doesn't make sense.
Because Bonnie just sent 7 messages.
Yeah, so I'm like, where did that even go?
Because I was pumping us up.
Uh-oh.
No, but I think one of like the biggest things that people don't really talk about entrepreneurship, like when you're in the beginning, it is going to take 5 hours, 6-hour meetings just to get started. And that is, for me, painful. It's so painful. And luckily now we are in a point where like we could get so much done in like a nice like 2-hour block founders meeting, and then we have our daily check-ins, and then like our group chat is so much more efficient back then. But if we did not have those 5-hour, 6-hour meetings in the beginning, we would be nowhere where we are today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know the 10,000 hours rule?
Yeah, it's like 10,000 hours to be finally efficient at something or learn all the lessons you need to learn.
Yeah, basically be an expert, and I feel like that's the work. You just got to put in those hours.
I don't know if this is going to come up in another question, but I do think in relation to entrepreneurship, in relation to the support system, like we do have a unique leadership model, I guess, in a sense where none of us are actually the CEO. We're all co-CEOs. And I think it kind of just fell into that decision, but also started to become way more intentional as major things had to be decided on, you know. And like I said, we had all worked with each other before in the past, and each of us had a skill set. I mean, we didn't have much skills in this particular area. Each of us had a skill set and a way of working that fit different sides of the business. Bonnie with operations, Jazz with finance, me with marketing. And those are really the 3 major things that you need for a business. You need the actual product, you need to be able to buy it, and you need to be able to sell it. So it kind of worked out that each of us had our own playing field, but our own space, but then also it could speak to that space, but then bring that information back so all 3 of us could decide on it. And I'll let them talk about. I mean, there's many times where people have pressured us into a different sort of structure, but it's become an active choice now that we want to be co-CEOs.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
I don't know if either add to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's real. I think honestly, I read articles about it, like people who are generally saying that. And honestly, I just feel like our dynamic is what it is and it works so well. Like, I don't want to change that just for someone to take that role. And I just honestly see whoever would be in it, just the burnout. Like, you know, that is just a lot, particularly for how our lives are set up. It just doesn't seem feasible. And I love that we actually made active choices. Honestly, you know, we're all feminists here. So it's active resistance, like, you know, shared model, like shared leadership. It doesn't have to just be the one, it's the community. So, yeah.
You guys got a lot of cooks in the kitchen. So how do you guys handle like disputes or like when, you know, someone has a certain idea, another person has another idea?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I'm just not efficient. We just had a conversation like, we got to be more efficient about this.
I feel like we got better.
Yeah, we got better, but it's 3 people, so it always goes to a vote. And then if you don't notice by now, me and Sid always have something quickly to say, like hop in. And then Bonnie's like, it's like the vote at the end, like where are we going? But we're trying yourselves out. So.
Yes. But yeah, as long as 2 of us are on the same page, that's how we usually go about it. But sometimes it's hard, like for 2 of us, because sometimes we can come from 3 different pages, literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happens often. And that's when you know, like, this is going to take a while. Like,
and that's going to be a good idea at the end.
Yeah. I do just want to reiterate, like, we do fight, though.
Oh, no.
There are arguments.
No.
I
like yeah, no. But I think that because we were
that's what I say. There's some physical altercations.
But I was good. Cindy kicked me body. Hot take.
Oh no.
Wait, what was this?
That's the first clip we gonna post. Nothing. No gyms. Say Katie on. Tune in for more.
It actually had nothing to do with Aurora and everything to do with being drunk.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I don't remember that. But it probably did happen. No. But like our argument, because we've worked so much with each other, like outside of Aurora, it's like the arguments, like it doesn't carry over longer than 24, 48 hours. And it's like, after it's done, it's like, oh yeah, that made sense. And then we just carry on. Like, it's not like something like, wow, like Sydney, she didn't want so-and-so to wear this pink shirt. Like, oh, I hate this. You know, no, it's never like that. It's usually like we are like I don't even know, like why we're doing Aurora, we're all on the same page. So we know there's no malintent, you know, with whatever we have to say. It's just like, we're just coming to an issue or, I don't know, a solution at different places. And this instant, it's taking us a little longer to be aligned. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that took, like, what Monty's talking about, like the 24 to 48 hour time span of getting over something. Well, at least for me, that wasn't always the case. Like, I feel like through this business and through
at least for me right now.
No, Monty, like, I don't care. Through this friendship, through this business partnership, and like we've gotten emotionally intelligent, is what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah.
Like, we've grown in emotional intelligence.
Actually, you learn true life lessons, bro. Yeah. But I feel like one of the biggest things at first, we're all strong personalities, and so we would just say stuff. But then, like, later, we're like, oh, I don't want to say something to offend that person. You start overthinking, you're just doing too much, and it's creating new issues. But now we come to agreement. Hey, I'm saying what I really think, and then that releases so much. It's just like, all right, we can just take it and move and keep going. So.
And then, I agree with, like, Monty now. Like, now it's like, I don't hold on to things. But that was a learn. I feel like I had to learn through that, and I'm glad that I was with y'all, because I know all of us messed up, but I know I messed up too.
That's all a part of the process. Got to make mistakes, fail in order to succeed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you guys feel like it's hard not to take things personally in business, especially when you're in business with your friends? Because it's a very fine line, you know, because you guys have to work together, but you guys also hang out outside of work together. So I'm sure that stuff can carry over. Like, nah, I'm not talking to you today.
I'm not talking to you. Can you imagine?
That's not even possible. I think it's like on the flip of that, because like we are best friends outside of this, line sisters, roommates, like it makes it even easier, because it's like, okay, like we just had this but like a disagreement about X of Aurora. But then like after the meeting's over, I'm going to come to your room and talk to you how about like my boyfriend at the time was like doing X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I want to tell you what he did, so I can't be upset at you because you didn't agree with me about Aurora. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't work out.
That's awesome. Yeah. So kind of wrapping up, what's next for Aurora Tights? Like, what do you guys have in the works? What does the rest of the year look for you guys? What new things are on the horizon?
Where the men's tights at?
Hey, we need some male models.
Ooh, I feel like we can each probably say something. Is there something?
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Every time we get asked this, Sydney loves to drop stuff. Like,
is it top? It's top secret.
No, Sydney, go.
But she just commits us. And then we're like, oh, so we have to do this.
She's like, oh, we didn't discuss that, Sydney.
They're like, more work for us.
Well, a project that I'm really, really excited about that we're all working on is personifying our shades and bringing them to life, not only in the digital space, but on physical merchandise. So really excited to see what, really showcase to people, bring these shades to life and showcase to people the full inclusivity of our project through these characters. So I know that's very ambiguous, but that will be coming out soon. And especially to introduce one of our newest shades. Somebody wants to talk about that.
Awesome.
So like I said before, well, one of like my favorite things about Aurora Tights is that we decided to name our shades after ice skaters and dancers. That kind of changed our lives, but also like pushed us to do Aurora. So rather than like our competitors, like something my skin complexion would be called like mocha or coffee, you know, it's like, no, like you're not going to objectify me. I'm not something like, I'm not an object, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So all our shades are after names. Like, for example, Lily, she's actually the first skater I ever coached. And so we first started with 3, then we were at 5 for a while, and then we added 2 more shades after 2 very famous ice skaters, Star Andrew and Brady Tennell. And Brady Tennell, we will be dropping later. Well, it's already the end of this month. Next month. And we're high key entering like a whole new market because, of course, most of our shades cater to the Black and brown community. We've gotten so many feedback from those of very fair skin complexions not having a product for them. So now we're also answering to that. So we're excited about that. And I think that's why it works perfectly with what Sydney was talking about, because now we're doing something different where we're naming our shades after people. Now our customers can see like these are the people that we're representing, and it actually encompasses like all types. So yeah, Jazz, you want to add? What else are we doing? What are the other million things that we're doing?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot happening. Well, to tie it all together, I think we're also going to drop all this. Well, not Brady, she's coming before that, but a lot of this is intertwined with, again, like there's a huge social aspect to Aurora, and so we're going to bring back our event called Perform and Color Showcase. Just say a little bit about it. Like we started in 2020 because ice skaters and dancers were at home, which was really sad. They weren't competing. It was during competition season. And also too, that's like an extra financial barrier. Like performance sports are already expensive, but layer on the pandemic, you know, that really was like really harmful for a lot of performers, you know? So we're like, okay, let's find ways to perform. So we created like a Zoom showcase. Essentially it was like a benefit. So people can like donate to kind of get in, and ultimately we raised about $13,000. There was like a matching as well, so like we raised about $13,000 and we donated. And then we also gave 2 scholarships, and we're like, okay, let's do that again. And so we're going to try to do it to a new scale and you know, make it bigger and better each year essentially. But we're also going to drop some of our merchandise then too.
Awesome. Big things coming up on the roadmap for Aurora Tights.
We'll let us see it. Now, are the tights specifically for skating and dancing, or you just like, what if somebody wanted to just walk around in them?
Yeah,
do that?
And like we cater to a couple different markets, of course, ice skaters, dancers, baton twirlers as well. But yes. But we also have like everyday tights in your skin color, like the ones you'd find at CVS, like the sheer tights or Target. And you can buy those on our site in your shade. Take our shade match quiz, and
they got a shade match quiz. Yeah, that's tough. Where can we find Aurora Tights merchandise? Plug it. What's the website for everybody out there?
auroratights.com, and on all channels, like social channels, it's at Aurora Tights.
Damn, links down in the description. Go cop some Aurora Tights. Get some tights in your shade.
You need it. Stop playing. But as always, any parting words, ladies, before we close out?
Perform in color.
We'll take it. With that,
I love you, David. Oh my gosh. Thank you
we'll
for
take it. We'll take it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is fun. It was a lot
clap
of fun.
it up again. Clap it up for Aurora Tights.
Thank you guys for being on here. We appreciate it.
Yeah, please invite us on again. We can just chop it up at that point.
Oh yeah, that's what we were real quick. That's what we were talking about offline. Come back. I heard y'all had some controversial topics, so we definitely want to.
Let's do it.
We gotta save it. We gotta save it. Save it for another episode. But we definitely want to have y'all back on. We got the business part out the way, and now it's time for the fun part.
I know my heart's gonna be. Oh wow!
See, you can't be giving away. You can't be giving away the the secrets like that.
I'll
No, I'm
say,
just kidding.
Yeah, I think we all have different opinions.
Definitely gonna have the lovely ladies of Aurora Tights back on, but like I said, all good things must come to an end. With that, we're gonna close out another episode of the Claw Talk podcast. Special thanks to Aurora, the ladies of Aurora Tights, for joining us, and we'll catch y'all in the next episode.